Venna, do we have the AKCP papers in hand, Venna? I think we did those right away, didn't we?
Yes, those will go home with them.
Awesome. So one of the key things that's kind of confusing is the AKC paperwork to start with. I tell people we give you a piece of paper. Your dogs are all what they call a limited registration. And so that just means that I'm not selling you a breeding dog. It would have cost you a whole lot more, and a whole lot more checks and things like that. You guys are buying all your puppies for pets, and that's means you're going to get a limited registration. All that means with the AKC is that you cannot register any puppies from your dog. Other than that, you can title your dog. You can get your Canine Good Citizen. You can get a therapy dog title on them. Really, anything else that AKC offers as far as you guys want to take them. I have to say, Mitch's sister Hera is amazing with showing. I have never been more proud of a dog than I was when I brought her to a um, competition for scent work. You know, other dogs are lunging at each other, barking, impatient, and she just walked, trotted right next to me, loose leash in hand. So, they're, if you want to show, I'd highly recommend it. I think they'd be good at it. Um, but I do know the average pet home people do like to do the Canine Good Citizen and the Puppy Star, and it's nice to get a little certificate. So definitely recommend that. Dan Gruber does a lot of our puppy classes, and Sam just started a new puppy class. Are you? Can I get a show of hands for people that would want to do a puppy class here? I don't know if you're too far, close, too far, or whatnot. Um, but I think if we can get 4 people, we could do just this litter, um, and
Good.
that would work. So we'll send out that
When would
information.
you, when would you do it, Pauline?
It depends on kind of the. There's a couple of weird weeks coming up because the holiday is, I think, next week. So we wouldn't do it until
Yeah.
that, and then I think July 8th is that Monday, so it would probably not be until that Saturday, which would be like the 13th of July. Um,
Okay.
but usually done on a Saturday morning, and it's really great because you guys get to let your puppies play with each other for a little while. Um, you're all going to have, it's a great networking. You're all going to have each other to say, all right, were you thinking this was going to be as bad as it is? Or I can't believe how easy it is, which I hope is what you say. Um, but all in all, it's great to have each other to go through it with as well. So we'll send out information on that, and hopefully that'll work out for everyone. All right, so back to my puppy 101. Health certificate, the vet did see them at least a week and a half, if not 2 weeks ago.
Two
He
weeks
did it
ago tomorrow. Yeah.
2 weeks ago tomorrow. So they essentially what they check for with the puppy check is gums, any dental problems, heart problems. They check for test, if the testes have dropped down. The only problem that we did have was a couple of the testes didn't drop down, but I think they were still only at 6 weeks, so I do believe that'll come through and it won't be a problem. I haven't had that in my bloodlines for a few years, if not 5 years now, so I don't anticipate um, that they won't come down. Um, Typically, what I say is there's really not a lot of difference between a boy who has undescended testicles and a female when it comes to space, so it's really not a, a real issue as far as health goes. And again, I don't think it's gonna. I did check one this morning that I thought was the one that didn't have either, and they were both down. So, enough of that. We feed them TLC food. Did you guys get TLC food?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Manny and Jen, you're switching over to your own, and I can talk about that with you on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Great.
I would definitely say purchase a full bag of this. Don't make any changes for at least a month. That gives your dog a chance to get into your home, decrease the stress. What happens when they leave, they go through stress. It hits their immune system, and they're more susceptible to things, especially GI upset. Any GI upset can really tip them over at this stage of the game. They've been tolerating the food very well. Their poops are good. So given that, I recommend not switching over for a month, and then maybe after a month of being on this food, switch them gradually over to the new food and see how that goes. Safeguard dewormer. We deworm the puppies here every other week with alternating dewormers. Coccidia and Giardia are the two number one parasites that dogs get. They're extremely common. They're found in many, many places, and they really can wreak havoc. Coccidia really can wreak havoc on your puppy. They get much more sick than they do with just Giardia. Safeguard dewormer covers Giardia. Tazaril covers the Coccidia, and the Safeguard also covers 5 or 6 other worms. The whipworms. There's all kinds of worms. They're in the ground. Your older dogs are carrying them. It's just we're probably carrying the majority of them. It's just that our immune systems are strong enough that it's not causing us to get sick. So when they leave here, we're going to give them a dose of Sal. I can't think of the name, but it's a 30-day Giardia pill. I have found it to be extremely effective. A lot of like shelters and things are using it now because it's a one dose and it treats for 30 days. So if your dog goes home and has a little bit of loose poops, probably a little bit of stress that they're going through. So I highly recommend you get a bottle of probiotics, Pepsid, and loperamide, Imodium. So for 4 to 5 months, again, it doesn't take much to tip them over into the aspect of having diarrhea. But if these parasites sit in your dog for any length of time, they can actually contribute to the dog having IBS long term. And so we're fairly aggressive with treating it, and I recommend that you continue that. So the Safeguard we cover with the, I think it's salbendazole. Will give them a dose of the Coccidia medication. You probably won't need to do anything for a month, and if you do have any diarrhea prior to a month, give me a call and I'll happily walk you through it. A trip for diarrhea to the vet costs $3,000. And it's, I don't like to go against vets, but I feel the fact of the matter is that they don't know my puppies. They don't know what my puppies have been exposed to. They're looking at the dog from Tennessee who came up, who's got heartworm, Giardia and Coccidia, and has diarrhea and is very sick, and they're going to test him for parvo and all of that stuff. So if I had parvo on the property, they'd all be dead. So we can rule that one out, and we treat for the Coccidia and Giardia. So for the first 30 days, if it's diarrhea, usually I say just start them on you should start on a probiotic anyway. Any kind of stomach GI, start them on a Pepsid. And a probiotic is really, really helpful for the little babies, for puppies. And we can have some of those available to you. So again, let me know if you're having any problems, any kind of allergy problems. I'm happy to walk you through kind of a lot of the over-the-counter treatments that you can do without having to go to the vet. And again, it's not that they're bad people or anything like that. It's just that they're doing the best they can to help your puppy. Any questions with that? Okay. Again, if you do have any questions, just let me know. Um, we have a store. You are entitled to a 10% discount off of everything in the store. If you have not communicated with Venna or Megan, um, do so, and we can set you up to have stuff be ready for you when you pick up your pup and have it all kind of good to go. You'll get one of our leashes and collars, a blanket, and a contract from Venna.
Everybody should have received that contract in the email, and just bring a copy with you, and I'll, either Pauline or I will sign it and make a copy for you.
Perfect. All right, next is shopping list. So again, these are pretty much the primary things that I do recommend getting a crate. I do recommend crating your dog overnight. Um, the way I've had the most success is I put a crate next to my bed, and if the puppy gets a little upset or anything, I just put my hand over the edge and just kind of talk to him a little bit, in a nice calm voice, and usually that's enough to settle them. Um, a lot of people like to just put them in one room, close them in, and call it a day. I do recommend, if you're going to do that, that you have some kind of white noise with them, um, and monitor them for temperature. So these guys are definitely going to run hot. So they're going to like a cold crate, a cooler spot, maybe even a fan on them at night. But if you're having trouble with your puppy for crate training, think about environment. Look at them, are they sprawled out and panting? That usually means they're too hot. If they're curled up in a ball, usually they're too cold. If they're really drooling and they have a high-pitched cry, they're just scared. Um, I would not recommend keeping them and just saying, deal with it. The, the bark that's just a hey, 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 that will stop in 5 minutes. But if you've got a puppy in there biting at the crates and it's a high-pitched wail, trying to get out, I recommend that you do abort the mission for the crate and give them a little bit more training during the day while you can be there, and just work through it rather than let them deal with it. So if the a lot of times what happens is, again, back to the diarrhea, the stage is so labile that if they have to go to the bathroom in the crate, you don't let them out and they have an accident in the crate, that really stresses them out tremendously. And then that can almost be like a PTSD going forward. That's when you start seeing the puppy that has that real issue with being in a crate and can't handle it. Any questions on crate training? Okay. Bedding, I like a fleece blanket. I find that they wick away moisture. They don't add a ton of heat to the equation. They're small enough that they get comfort from it, and not too hot. I also recommend, let's see if that's on here, the Snuggle Puppy for the crate. And as bedding with your puppy, everyone that gets a Snuggle Puppy swears by Snuggle Puppy. So I highly recommend that, especially for the transition over. X pens, baby gates, or exercise pens I'm not sure if you've been by the farm. I took it down today, but we usually have an exercise pen around the kenneled area, and that's just for giving them a little bit more room. So X pens are great because you really want to be keeping an eye on your dog at this stage of the game, but they want to be with you at all times. And so when I have a puppy, I just sit on the couch and X pen around myself with the puppy. So my feet are there, he's with me, but he's not able to get up and walk away into another room and go to the bathroom without me knowing it. So that's really a great technique. The other great use for X pens is if you